Our theme this month is Find Time, and all this week we've actually had this special series helping you find time for what's important. And we're going to wrap up this week-long series with perhaps the most important time investment of all. That's you. And
therapist Julie Hanks, a licensed clinical social worker, plus the owner and director of Wasatch Family Therapy, says time is the best gift you can give to yourself and to your relationships.
Yes. You know, often women, we put ourselves last on the list and we're taking care of everybody else. But I remember flying with my a baby and realizing when they do the safety intro, place your mask on first, then assist dependent others. And that's just so not our nature as women. I would have placed my mask on my little baby, made sure he was okay, and then but then I would have passed out, right? I think that happens a lot in our lives. We are emotionally passed out because we do not take care of ourselves. That's what we're going to talk about today.
I don't know why. I think women struggle with this more than men. My wife, I try to get her to like, no, I've got this list of chores, I've got to take care of the house, and I think she has a hard time taking that time for herself.
Yeah. It seems like there's a lot of guilt on women if you, it almost seems selfish if you choose to put yourself before something else you know needs to be done.
Yeah, that's I call it the S word that in my therapy practice, because I don't want to be selfish. Yeah. And there's a difference between selfish and self-care, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But a lot of women that I speak with in my practice, they don't even know what they would do if they did make the time.
They've gotten into the practice of helping others. They don't even know what they need anymore.
They've kind of lost their sense of self and passion and don't even know what to do. So I have a little exercise for the viewers here. 2 questions to help us really figure out what do we need to do to find the time and fill ourselves up and have passion for our lives. So get out a piece of paper and a pencil, and the first one is to ask yourself, what brought you pure joy as a child? Think about that. It could be simple, blowing bubbles, climbing trees.
I guarantee you it wasn't a clean house. I was oblivious to that as a child, you know?
Right. For me, it was singing, having my dad play the piano and I would sing, or it was being outside in the water and the sun. So those can be clues for what makes us feel more alive. And a lot of times as we grow up, we don't hold on to those things that really bring us pure joy. So that can give you some info about what you need to do when you make the time.
They seem, when you think back to your childhood, the things are simple. Right. They're not extreme. They're not going to a 5-course meal or anything like that.
Exactly, and not a clean house like you said.
Yeah,
I think a lot of women get caught up on that.
Okay, second part of this little test
is, what do I want to do before I die? So sometimes women, it's easy to give up our dreams because we care so much about our loved ones and taking care of our families. But I want to think about something you want to do before you die and take one little step. So I want to tour Europe. Okay, so start mapping out where you want to go. Save $10 a week. So you're working towards something that matters to you, and you have something to look forward to for yourself.
Yeah, I guarantee, once again, having a clean house probably isn't on that list either.
And I don't think I'll have one before I die ever.
It might be your dream to have a clean house. It's not happening.
You know, we went out and we asked some women why they struggle finding time for themselves, and we actually put together what they had to say so everybody could hear it.
All right.
I really don't have time for myself. I've got 3 kids, but if anything, I just take an hour to myself every night and make sure that the door is locked and shut and just take my own time. I have to make time.
Why is it hard to find time for yourself?
I have 9 children.
I get up at 4:45 every morning and run. I run and do workout for an hour every single day, and I think that gives me the energy in being able to help other people. It takes care of me and fills me so that I have enough energy and desire to help other people.
Do you find it hard to find time for yourself?
Yes, I work, I have a baby, and I try to volunteer as much as I can, but sometimes it's hard to fit that into my schedule, so I do try, but it's hard.
Not every day. Some days, some days you get to read, some days you don't, some days you get to go to lunch with friends.
Why is it difficult to find time for yourself?
I think just demands on time, being a mom and needing to take care of everybody else, that sometimes that gets to be the last thing that you get to do, but, occasionally.
Occasionally.
Yeah,
even when I can squeeze it in.
The bottom of the screen says selfish versus self-care. That's sort of what you were talking about a little bit earlier. There's a difference there.
The definition of selfish is kind of taking care of yourself, doing what's in your best interest, without regard for others. So I think as women, we get caught up and think, oh, it's selfish if I do something for myself, but doing something nice for yourself with regard for others is not selfish. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's not one or the other. You can have regard for other people in taking care of yourself.
And, you know, every one of those women we heard, I don't think you could call any one of them selfish, because the reasons they weren't taking care of themselves, it sounded like we're to take care of other people.
Right, right. And so taking
Always
care of
front and center.
yourself and keeping in mind your relationships, that's not selfish, and that's the goal.
People sometimes have these phrases, these stereotypes that they think. You have a couple of those lined up for us. Ready? To see if they sound familiar to people.
The first is, I just don't have enough time to take care of myself.
Yeah.
I don't, and you know what? We are never going to find the time. You have to make the time. Make it a priority.
No one's going to show up on your doorstep with a basket full of time.
Yeah, everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. The next one is, I can't take time away from my family. And we heard that a lot in those women. We love our family so much, but you know what? They will live without us for a few hours. The next is, I have to finish all of my work before I play. And whenever I offer to trade jobs with my children, they never take me up on it, because they know that my jobs are never done and they're continuous. So if we say we can't play or take care of ourselves before our work is done, we will never play. We will never get that self-care time.
Those kids will be 18 before you take an hour for yourself. Very true.
And then we've kind of mentioned this other one. I don't want to be selfish. We're so afraid to be selfish. So self-care is what we're going for here.
Yeah, it's not. I love how you're saying this, because I think sometimes as moms or adults, any of us, when we actually take care of ourselves, we're actually helping those around us, because we're feeling better about ourselves. So it's not a selfish thing. We're actually benefiting by taking time for ourselves.
Yes, I think that's so true. And I think we need to remember that makes more of us to give to other people.
So how do we switch our mindsets?
Okay.
You'd mentioned that maybe you treat others as you would treat yourself.
The first tip is
treat yourself as treat others.
Treat yourself as you would treat others. You wouldn't expect your child to never take a break and you have to come home and study all night long, and they have to do you allow everybody else to take a break. Why don't you treat yourself that way? So think about that. If I would allow someone else to do it, then why won't I allow myself that time?
Another idea you have says investment in you means rewards for others.
And that's what you were just mentioning, is it's important to remember that when we take care of ourselves, that does benefit others. There's more of us, we have more joy and more passion overflowing. And have you heard the saying, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy?
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Isn't that
so
true? So when as women we are happy and fulfilled and taking good care of ourselves, there's more of us to give to our relationships. So it's actually selfless to take care of ourselves.
And I really like this next tip. The only way to guarantee that you do this is to actually schedule an appointment for yourself.
Make and keep appointments with yourself. So sometimes we break our appointments and commitments with ourselves. Oh, I really need a nap, or I'm going to take that yoga class, or I really want to take 2 hours and finish this book. And if we can actually put it on the calendar, write it down like we would a lunch date with someone else or a work meeting, and keep that appointment with yourself, that will make it easier. And if somebody says, oh, can you do this? You say, no, I have an appointment with myself.
You don't have to even say with yourself. You say, I have an appointment. I've got something else I'm doing. I'm doing some self-care here. Your last tip says explore your passions. Make them a priority.
So we talked earlier about those two questions. What brought you joy as a child? And then what do you want to do before you die? And make sure that those are being attended to, that you have something that you have passion about that's not just taking care of other people, because most women have a passion for taking care of our relationships. But it's important to have those things that are just about you, that aren't kind of hooked onto other people's behavior or their happiness, and to make that a priority, because our passion in our life is really important, and that's what makes us unique.
Yeah.
Back to the basics.
Yeah. And back to those first two things. Make sure you do something on those first two things. Give you joy and something you want to do before you die, and make some of that of what you want to really do today. Julie's actually a therapist and owner of Wasatch Family Therapy, and if you want more information, you can visit wasatchfamilytherapy.com to learn more about counseling services, workshops, and classes. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you, Julie.